Welcome back, everybody, to the Breakdown Podcast YouTube channel. My name's Corey, and in this episode, we are going to be talking Star Wars The Bad Batch. And with me today, I've got my partner. It's Vic.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Breakdown Podcast.
This one was a bit better episode, I think. It didn't seem to me like it's one of the last couple episodes where they, as I said a couple weeks ago, were like side missions. Mm-hmm. So that was good to see, and we had a little bit more advancement in the story on two different levels with Omega, and then with what's his name, Deadshot,
Crosshair. His name is Crosshair.
So
you're crossing streams there, my friend. You're crossing streams.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of what happened in this episode.
Well, after you say the magic words,
let's break it down.
All right, this episode of The Bad Batch, Season 1, Episode 8 is titled Reunion. As always, these things kind of have a little bit of a double meaning, and in this episode, it holds the same. After the Scrapper Guild informed the Empire that the Bad Batch was on Scarif, they showed up. They sent Commander Crosshair. He's gotten a promotion. He's now in charge. He is large and in charge, and he has an entire battalion of stormtroopers. I don't think they're actually considered stormtroopers yet. They're still like those special troops that they kind of conscripted.
We'll just call them troopers.
Right. So he has an entire battalion of troopers that they send to the planet to capture the 4 rogue clones and Omega. However, Lama Su, who is the Chancellor of Kamino, is worried that in the ensuing firefight, knowing how good the Bad Batch is, they know that there's a chance Omega could be killed. And if she gets killed, they're going to have problems trying to secure their position within the Empire's pay schedule. The Bad Batch spent some time exploring the ship because the creature in the ship kept the scrappers from actually offloading all of the ordnance and materials from the ship. They were trying to scavenging to try to get enough stuff to pay off their debt to Sid. And in doing so, they end up grabbing a photon torpedo and a case full of thermal detonators. And they head out the ship. They figure the best way to get out of the ship is to go out through the ion engine, which is just freaking massive. They slide down. They're about to get out, but this is after Crosshair and his minions tried to capture them, but Tech was too smart for him. He listened in on their communications, and he figured out the best course of action to avoid meeting up with them. The problem is that Crosshairs is one of the Bad Batch, so he knew what he was doing, and he ends up intercepting his signals and figuring out where they were, and they end up trapping them in the ion engine. In doing so, to escape, they fire off one of the cannons on the ship. And when he does that, it actually causes the gantries and everything to drop, which gives them a chance to escape. And in that escape, they head for the ion engine, and that's where they're trying to get out. When Crosshair catches them from across the opening, he is like set up in sniper's position to take them out as they try to get out of the engine, which they have to get out of because one of his troopers has just turned the engine on, and he's about to like flame broil them if they don't get the hell out of there. So of course, never to be trapped, Hunter's like, we can get out of this. Let's just use the detonators to blow the housing off of the ion engines, which will then drop them down and they won't get flash broiled by the ion engines. And in doing so, it works, but Crosshair gets caught in the jet wash and gets the crap burned out of himself for his troubles, which I thought was it was appropriate. He deserved it. He's a traitor. It ends up...
It's not his fault. It's not his fault, though.
It's not... Well, Omega did tell him that it wasn't his fault. It was the inhibitor chip that was controlling him. And like she told him in the first episode, when they were locked up, that it's not his fault. The inhibitor chip is doing it. But I'm sorry. I feel like the inhibitor chip may be enhancing it, but I feel like out of all of the all of the Bad Batch, he's probably the one that is closest to being normal. So I feel like that ship is actually controlling him a little bit more because of that fact. Because I don't think he wants to be, like, he wants to be a good soldier, and because of that, it keeps him going.
I think there's been a couple of quick shots of him in previous episodes where it seems like there's still like a emotional attachment to the rest of the rest of the guys in the Bad Batch, and so it's like he's almost like he doesn't want to do it, but he has to.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what's his name said in the last episode when he was when his ship went off and he was going crazy. And he's like, I tried to fight it. So I mean, it may be the same way. So if he says he was trying to fight it, you know, there's still a bit of crosshairs in there, and knows he doesn't want to do this, but he has no choice. So yeah, I like we've said before, I fully believe by the end of the season he's going to end up getting switched back, and we'll be back with everybody else. I'm
almost thinking he's not. I feel like they're gonna take the chip out of his head. And when they do it, they're going to find out that chip hasn't been malfunctioning the whole time. They're going to find out that, like, Hunter, he's literally just Crosshair. That's how he feels, and he's going to go after him. Because I feel like that, I think that, like, the inhibitor chip may be making him a little more aggressive, but I feel like he's doing exactly what he wants to do. Like, I think he has some reservations because they are his brothers, but I think that, like, them going against what they were created to do is enough for him to not want to be with them or be like them. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But while all this is going on, a group of the troopers had found their ship, and they were kind of waiting in ambush for them. And Hunter and Omega get away from the group, and they head back to the ship, while the other three are fighting off the troopers. And lo and behold, who do we get to see but Cad Bane himself? This is a reunion for all of us who have watched Clone Wars. We know Cad Bane. We know that he is the second best bounty hunter in the galaxy at this point in time. And we'll talk about a little bit more about that when it comes down to it. But, dude, he is like... He's literally kind of like Clint Eastwood from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Like, that's what he's fashioned after. And if you look at him, like, even the music in the episode was kind of like that thing like they did, like, in that. So, like, when you see him, when you see that, you're like, yes! This is the old school, like, Star Wars Western type shit that we grew to love even more in Mandalorian. Like, they were doing this back then with Cad Bane, and he was one of the big time, like, Western, spaghetti Western Star Wars characters that I loved. But he gets into, they do the traditional OK Corral shootout thing where they do the close-ups of the face and the close-ups of the gun, and then the twitching finger and the slide back of the duster, and they get into it, and then, they draw, and Cad Bane, being the badass that he is, shoots Hunter square in the chest. Hunter shoots the leg off of his service droid. And then Omega's like, crap, I don't know what to do. And she gets knocked out, and like she gets stunned, and Cad Bane makes off with Omega. Thus, Lama Su has gotten what he wants, and he is now going to get his hands on Omega again to start Protocol 3, Phase 3. The rest of the group show up. It was a really cool kind of POV shot. It reminded me kind of like Halo when Master Chief is first waking up out of the sleep unit, and you get to see like the heads up display from the game, and then like that kind of thing. And he starts to get up, and he's like, he's groggy, and you got that first person view through his visor. And you kind of get to see what a clone trooper sees through that visor, which I've always liked the idea of what that is. So you see his HUD. You see Wrecker jump into view, and he's like, "We gotta go!" And he's just blasting shots at everybody. They get him on the ship, and he's still like out of it. But he's like, "They've got Omega. We gotta go get her." And then they escape off the planet. It's an epic episode with like just the drama was good, the action was good, the introduction of Cad Bane into this series was awesome. You know, the reunion was, you know, the Bad Batch meeting up with Crosshairs again. They reunite with him. I feel like it was a reunion for the Watcher getting to see Cad Bane again. It was a really good episode. I give this episode overall. I think this was one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite episode so far.
How many episodes are there this season?
There are 14 episodes.
And this was 9?
This was 8. Reunion was number 8.
Okay. So we're going to get, like I said, the previous couple episodes seemed almost like, I mean, yeah, they advanced the story a little bit, but not a lot. It is more of the filler episodes, if you will. And I think probably 8, 9, and 10, this episode, and then the next 2 episodes, they're going to be really good. And then for 11 and 12, it's gonna be filler episodes again, and then 13 and 14 is going to crank it back up again.
That's
my theory.
Based on the titles of the few episodes that I have, 10 is called Common Ground. Can't get a whole lot out of that. Probably has something to do with them trying to talk Crosshairs into dealing with it, coming back to them. Devil's Deal, I'm pretty sure that's going to have something to do with. I have a theory that Boba Fett is going to show up in this episode, in one of these episodes, and this Devil's Deal episode, I feel like this is going to be the one where that happens. Because I have a feeling that Boba Fett is going to try to steal Omega from Cad Bane somehow. I'm not sure how they're going to pull that off or what they're going to do it, but I feel like that's what it is. Because Cad Bane, if you don't know, he's the one who put that ding in Boba Fett's helmet. That iconic like bullet mark on the top of his helmet. That was Cad Bane who did that. So I feel like this would be a great way to show us how that happened. And that Devil's Deal episode, I think that might be the one. The one after that is called Rescue on Ryloth, which I am sure is just them finding out where she was. No, this is going to be where they find out where she is. They're going to go and try to rescue her. This is going to be the rescue episode from Mandalorian where they go after Grogu. He's going to get all the group together. They're going to call everybody back in that they've had helping them so far, that they've helped. They're going to call in the sisters. They're going to call in Rex. Sid's probably going to jump in with Cliff and Norm. They're going to come to help her out. You know, they're going to get the whole crew together, and then they're going to go after her. Infested, not sure where that's going to come into, and then War Mantle is going to end up being the last episode, which I am sure is going to probably have something to do with the Empire ending their clone trooper days and moving them to stormtroopers and decommissioning the clone troopers, which interestingly enough, I'm not sure how you do that, because when it comes down to it, the clone troopers are the property of Kamino. They are being purchased individually by the Empire, but at this point, if they stop their contract with the Kaminoans or Kaminoans, then where the hell do they put all of those clone troopers that they have? They got to do something with them.
They start their own army.
Maybe. But
they deprogram them all.
This episode, you did see the Empire kind of bullying their way into the Kaminoan kind of hierarchy, where Lama Su is like the prime minister. He's the leader of the Kaminoans. And you could see that they had some sort of a Kaminoan council room, kind of like the Jedi Council, where they had all the seats around in the circle. So I'm sure that was like where all of the Kaminoan council sat and made all their decisions. But that freaking little hustler that has everybody, the dude who started the Imperial Social Security Agency, he's sitting there telling him like, oh, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. I'm like, dude, just like send some clone troopers in there to teach him what for, because I hate that guy. I can't stand that guy.
I think a lot of the characters are you can be hated easily.
Yeah.
And for good reason too. You got anything else you want to talk about in this
No,
episode?
like I said, this episode was very easy to watch. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to the next couple episodes to see where they go with it, especially now that they have captured Omega. She's going to be more trouble than they think, because I think that if she is, she's learned a lot. Let's put it that way. She's learned a lot from everybody. So at this point, she's going to be able to kind of defend herself if they take their eyes off of her. I feel like she's going to cause problems for Cad Bane, and may possibly escape, which could be why we end up with more bounty hunters looking for her, and she ends up on her own. We might see some sort of an adventure, like a solo adventure for her, where she gets to kind of use all of the stuff that she's learned to survive one episode. We'll see what happens.
A solo adventure, you say?
Yeah, solo.
As in Han Solo?
You never know. You never know.
That's going to be it for today. We do want to thank you for watching. And also, be sure to check out the podcast. We do it every 7 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. That's at Miller King. Twitch.tv/Miller King. The link will be in the description down below. Also, while you're down there, please make sure to give us a thumbs up and hit the bell for notifications when we upload new videos. So, on behalf of Vic,
that's me.
I'm Corey. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.
See ya.